Greetings all, this is Angel Shade, and I'll be taking a short look at how the multiplayer of the classic Call of Duty from 2002 looks like in 2015. Firstly, it is important to mention that if you own the classic version released on CDs from 13 years ago, or even the deluxe version released some time later, you will have difficulty running this on new operating systems. Also, the highest resolution you can push this game to is 1024 by 768, and while there are mods to extend it to full HD resolution, they cause some pretty nasty graphical glitches and rendering issues. Incidentally, that is the reason why my walkthrough switched resolutions midway. A minor glitch or flashing texture I'd ignore, but when a complete forest fails to render, it becomes somewhat noticeable. There is a way around this, that is purchasing the release from the Steam, which will run without problems, but the resolution limitations will remain. So, onto multiplayer, and first of all, after 13 years you have to ask yourself, are there even still people playing it? Well, good news, there are. And there are still around 150 servers still running, and you will, in most cases, find a few with more than 20 people on them. After 13 years, virtually the only people left playing this are hardcore fans of the game, which means there's hardly any cheaters on it, if any at all, which is lovely. But as is the case with hardcore players, they run their servers with their fixed ideas in mind. All of the servers that still run are heavily modded, so chances of playing a vanilla classic Call of Duty game are zero. Unless you host a game yourself, which somehow I doubt you will. If you crave a game of this classic, you're stuck to play on the few servers that are populated, with the rules and mods they run. The game I recorded for use in this video is an example of this. It is heavily modded, and while it's generally a great server to play on, my ping was atrocious. And the results of this are painfully obvious. I had trouble landing unshot on the damn walls, let alone jittery players running all around me, and the fact I'm not all that skilled a gamer certainly didn't help any. I mentioned there are around 150 servers still live, but from what I could see, most of the time they are empty. Only around 15 or so servers actually have populations, and as I mentioned, these are either modded or very limited servers, where you have to play by the rules of the people who hosted them. Usually that means either that you can only use specific weapons, which in most cases means only rifles or snipers, or the mods are changing the game so much that everything from the weapons to sound files, everything is changed. And generally playing on this server is good, but the ping can be dodgy, as I mentioned a minute ago. But considering how long this game has stuck around, 15 servers with an active population is still pretty good. Whatever state they're in, or rule set they enforce, they are still running and you can still play on them, and even have fun. For all I have said, the game did not lose any of its original charm. This is the game that made aiming down the sights a staple of modern shooters, and it still feels just as awesome as when this was the only game that offered it. For those who play this after playing newer Call of Duty titles, there's a few things you need to get used to. For example, there's 2 primary weapon slots, and a separate slot for sidearm and grenades. This game still holds many of the old shooter bits, such as grenades having to be selected to be thrown, and no separate grenade throw button included. Including the sidearms, you can carry 3 weapons, not 2 like we're used to today. You spawn with 1 primary weapon, you choose before spawn or between spawns, and you pick up another one in the field. When sniping, there is very little scope sway, and there is no steady weapon or hold breath function, and there is no need for it really, because this was before its time. There are 4 armies in the game you can play as: American, British, Russian and German, and which ones you get to play depends on the map you play on. Of course, it is always Germans versus one of the remaining armies for obvious reasons. So, in conclusion, yes, the classic Call of Duty multiplayer is indeed still kicking, and as long as you don't mind dealing with some relatively minor technical issues, you can still fish out quite a few fun moments out of this gaming jewel. Call of Duty is available on Steam for 20 euros or your original equivalent, and like all the classics, it is not going down without a fight anytime soon. Before ending this video, I'll add that I'm not commenting on whether the game is worth buying now or not. This is simply a look at the multiplayer segment of this classic game after 13 years since its release. But all that being said, there are still people enjoying this game, and not only for its single player, but also for this multiplayer. And it's living for so long clearly means there might be something in it worth trying out. So if you get the chance, try it out. Thanks for watching. Until next time.